If you don't create balance on this journey, you will create burnout. I get to choose how and when I show up to add value to the world, and so do you. I'm not here to give you like a cookie cutter, this is what you need to do, this is what your schedule needs to look like. I'm here to inspire you to sit down and figure out what this needs to look like so that you can thrive in your specific, individual, unique life. It can be so hard to turn off that creator side of your brain and just feel like you have to be on all the time. Or the algorithm will forget about you and you'll lose everything that you've worked so hard for up until this point. But I'm here to tell you that that's just not true. And even if there was any truth to that, it's not worth completely destroying your physical and mental health along the way. So I want to share some tips and some helpful questions that might help you find more balance on this journey. Now listen, I'm not saying that you can completely peace out from social media and expect nothing to change or nothing to decline. But what I am saying is that I believe that it's so important to build a solid foundation that supports who you are, your lifestyle, your needs, and a foundation that makes space for self-care and rest. A common theme that I've seen lately in a lot of the bigger creators that I follow is burnout. It's all go, 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 go. And of course that makes for very fun and exciting content as a viewer, as the audience. But I believe if you're not making space for rest in your life, your body will make that for you and it will force you to rest. And for me, you can't enjoy that rest when it's forced because you're usually run down, super sick, in a really bad mental space. So it's not like an enjoyable rest. It's like, this is survival at this point. You know what I mean? I would much rather take the rest on my terms when I'm feeling good and feeling myself. So what's contributing to this burnout? I honestly feel like it's a lot of things. Pressure to post so often to please the algorithms, fear of losing all of your hard work, trying to chase what's working for others even if it doesn't work for your lifestyle, or it's the complete opposite side of that where it's not enough planning, too much just winging it and showing up and just picking up the camera when you feel like it, not making space for rest in our schedule, and just pushing ourselves to be on every platform at once, doing all at once, and just trying to do too much at once. And I don't know everything, but what I do know is that if we want change, then we have to change something. So here are some things that I think can help. First things first, create a schedule. I know this is so typical advice, but I cannot stress enough how much having a schedule has been such a lifesaver for me on this journey. Don't just wing it and be like, oh crap, what do I need to post today? I should post something today. What should I post? Do not wing it. Do not just go into it posting whenever. You need to take yourself seriously as a creator from the get-go. Before you have the big audience, before you have the engagement, you need to take yourself seriously first before anyone else out in the world will take you seriously. That comes with having a plan and having intention when you are creating content. It just creates more stress when you don't have a plan and you're just winging it and you're posting inconsistently. I feel like when you're operating from that space, you're creating half-assed content, and half-assed content's going to get a half-assed result. And so if you want a real result, and of course in the beginning the result probably isn't going to be what you want it to be, but that's okay, that's expected, that's normal. But there's such a difference when you're showing up from a place of having a plan and being intentional versus just half-assing it. That might work for the lucky 1%, but for the most of us, we need to have a plan, we need to be intentional, we need to put in the effort to get to where we want to be. Instead of posting from this hectic, rushed kind of oh shit, I need to post something today energy, you're able to have a plan and post from this calm and peaceful and confident place. And to me, in my opinion, that's just such a better place to create and to show up from. Scheduling is I would say essential, a requirement, a non-negotiable if you have other responsibilities to juggle around creating content. Especially if you're already feeling like you're struggling to keep up with everything and that you are creeping into burnout. So the question I want you to ask yourself when it comes to this is, what kind of schedule usually works best for me? Based off of things in the past, when you were really working well, when things were really thriving, what kind of schedule were you on? And your life might look different now, but just think back to the specifics of what you were doing and why it worked. When I say what type of schedule, I'm talking about Is it a paper calendar? Is it digital? Is it a Google reminder? What has worked for you in the past when it comes to the form of scheduling? For me, I have printable calendars on my wall right here because I am a visual person. I love to see things and I like to see it in my day-to-day life. I like to be able to see it when I'm waking up, when I'm getting ready, when I'm doing my makeup, when I'm sitting down at my desk. I like to be able to see it. Those aren't necessarily the ones I look at every day and like do my work based off of. I have that in a digital form and that works best for me because when I'm sitting down on my laptop, I pull that up and I work off of that. But these are just little reminders for me to see in my day-to-day, like subconsciously. I don't know, that might sound weird to you, but it just works for me. I also have a social media calendar in Notion, and I had it for a long time, but the difference between me having it for so long and it actually working for me was the fact that I just actually started using it. I made it a crucial step in my work process. So the first thing I do is sit down and open my Notion versus before it was there and I would use it here and there, but I wasn't so like, this is part of my routine. That scheduler became a part of my routine. It wasn't the easiest thing to do, but it has made such a difference in how I show up. It's just made my life easier. Like having this plan in place, having the space for it, knowing where it is, but actually sticking to it and making the habit of using it, not just having it there and being like, oh, well, I've made a schedule. Actually using it, making the habit to open it up and actually work off of it. I can sit here and tell you to make the schedule, but what I think is more important is for you to go and make the habit to use it. And it might not come naturally to you at first, but give it time, give it persistence. It will pay off. Oh, you will thank yourself. Next question to ask yourself is, what days work best for me to work on content? And include AM or PM. Like, get as specific as possible on this, especially if you have a lot of things going on. And I will say, it doesn't mean that content has to be the main thing on this schedule. I definitely think that rest needs to be included, non-negotiable, somewhere on this schedule. And I'm working on this right now. I want my Fridays to be a day where I'm not really working on content related things. So for me, it's making sure that I am filling my Monday through Thursday with the bulk of my work so that I can finish by Thursday and have everything done. Sometimes like little things do spill into my Friday mornings, but then the rest of my days I'm focusing on things that fill my cup and having that time for me. But sitting down and making time for this and really blocking it out and figuring out what's going to work best for you and your lifestyle and being intentional with it and how it's going to fit into your life in a realistic way that you can maintain long term is going to make all the difference. Like right now, if you only have time to work on content on the weekends, then it's time to get clear on everything else that you have going on the weekends that around that. And find the pockets of time or make the pockets of time. This is where making it a priority comes into play because you might fill your weekends with binge watching Netflix. So it's like, okay, maybe I can give up an hour of that so that I can create a video. Where in your schedule can you spend 30 minutes to just put a timer on and brainstorm content ideas? Where in your schedule can you sit down for another 30 minutes and schedule out your content for the week? Your concept ideas and bullet point outlines, knowing when you need to have content done, filmed, edited, and scheduled so that when you are busy doing your other obligations, you still have content going out live. I run 2 channels. So one's a travel channel that requires me to be out of the house, on the road, filming all day long. There's no time for me to sit down and edit for my personal channel. There's no time for me to sit down and do videos like this. I am on the road, I am living out of a van, and I'm just doing that. That is my main focus when I'm out on those trips. So when I want my videos on this channel to be running smoothly, I need to work around the weeks that I'm gonna be on the road, and I need to plan out, schedule out, edit them out, and make sure that they're ready to go live while I'm on the road. If you have a 9-to-5 job or if you have kids, to work around with that. So you have to find out what it is for you. For me, it's the weeks that I'm out on the road, or sometimes when I have dog sitting clients, or I have other responsibilities that I need to take care of on top of my content. You have to figure out what that's going to look like for you. You are never going to be able to copy and paste someone else's life and their schedule to yours because we're all different. Even if you were a single mother of 3 and you're copy and pasting someone else's single mother of 3's lifestyle and routine, you are 2 different individuals. So like maybe this person's a super type A personality and they need to write everything out and they have all this organization, but that's not your vibe. That's why I say you can't copy and paste just because someone else has similar whatever to you. You need to go to work to figure out what's going to work for you. And sometimes that comes with trial and error. All that to say is that there are ways to make this happen. You just need to sit down and get clear and intentional about your time. Another question to ask is, what makes me feel good and rested? This is so important, and I feel like when we talk about making these kind of schedules and like staying on top of our content schedule, we don't plug in the rest part. I want you to make a list of up to 10 things that make you feel good and rested. Things that help you unwind and unplug and recharge. If you can't think of 10, start with 5 and add more as they come to you in the future. For me, as weird as it sounds, it's things like meal prepping. Meal prepping can be very relaxing for me at times. I put my headphones in, I'm chopping veggies, but it's what happens after the meal prep. The result that the meal prep gives me, that gives me relief and allows me to operate from a place of calm and ease because I have my meals sorted for the week. So it's taking away an extra decision I have to make every day on what am I going to eat today. So that is something that I do for myself as a form of like self-care, is doing my meal prep. I take an hour to 2 hours every Sunday and I prep ingredients that I can make meals out of, or I prep entire meals. It just makes life easier, which makes me feel more calm and I can focus my energy on other things. Another thing for me is prioritizing sleep. And that for me comes from giving myself time to decompress before bed. Because if I'm go right up until bed, I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep and my mind's just like buzzing. And I'm just like, I'm awake. I can't fall asleep. It takes me so long. But giving myself time, and especially time without just scrolling or being on my phone, again is a habit that needs to be formed. But the benefit for me has been like so amazing. Listen. Only you know you best. You know how you operate. So ask yourself, what makes you feel rested? What helps you step into your week feeling calm and being able to operate from a place of like, I'm ready to show up. Like, what is that for you? Is it getting up before everyone else in the house? Is it reading? Is it going for a walk while listening to a podcast? That's definitely one for me. Make a list of 10 things that make you feel good and rested, and make sure you are making time to prioritize that in your schedule. And also get clear on how long those tasks usually take you to do. So for me, when I'm going for a walk, listening to a podcast, I usually give myself an hour to complete that. Sometimes my walks are 45 minutes, sometimes they're an hour. So I just give myself an hour. Get specific with the times. So when I say I prioritize my sleep, that means getting to bed by 9:30 for me. And for you, it might be different, but you have to figure out what these times mean for you. If I'm writing down meal prep as one of those things that make me feel good and rested, I would put meal prep, and that for me, that's Sundays before 12 p.m. Because after 12 p.m., that's me shutting off for my Sunday. I'm not doing anything. I'm relaxing. I'm not on my phone. I'm just probably watching Netflix or watching YouTube videos and eating snacks, and just like, I don't have to reply to anyone, I don't have to be in my DMs, I don't have to do anything. I'm not here to give you like a cookie cutter, this is what you need to do, this is what your schedule needs to look like. I'm here to inspire you to sit down and figure out what this needs to look like so that you can thrive in your specific, individual, unique life. Another thing that can really help is getting really clear and realistic on your output goals. And I feel like this one can make such a difference in the overall enjoyment of your journey. And I mean, if you're not enjoying this, then what is the point? To just give you another chore that you don't feel like doing? No. We're not doing that. I want to empower you to stop forcing yourself to try and show up like everyone else is showing up, and find your way to show up. And like, I hope that makes someone out there just feel like, oh, like this freeing feeling. It should feel so freeing to know that you get to make it look like what you need it to look like. No one's out there saying that. Like, they're like, do it this way, post at this time, da 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 da. But what if you could just do you? I know that there's videos out there that are telling you, oh, if you want to be successful on this platform, you need to post this many times and this and that, and then you have to do this, do that, do that. It's just so much pressure. It's like, to an extent, yeah, you need to show up. You need to put in the work, yes. But how you show up and how you put in the work, you get to create what that looks like. These copy and paste things, they just can't work for everyone. They don't work for everyone. And that just has to be okay if you're gonna find your own version of balance. Your life is different, you are different, and that is okay. And depending on how much you have going on in your life, that might mean that you need to be okay with your results looking or coming differently than someone else. But it also might not mean that. Your results might come exactly how theirs came. Especially on YouTube, which is my favorite place to create right now. Like, all you need is one piece of content to really shift things for you. And that is amazing. So let's use YouTube as an example. The standard here is usually uploading once a week. Twice a week for many of the full-timers, but it's usually once a week. Even a lot of the bigger channels are once a week. But why does that make it wrong if you only post 2 times a month, if that's what works best for you? Do that and make that be okay. If that's what's working for you and that's allowing you to operate from this place of balance where you don't feel so overwhelmed, do that. We have to stop telling ourselves that it's wrong. If it's working best for us right now, then it's right. And that's not to say that things can't change down the line when our lives change or things aren't as crazy. But for right now, we need to stop driving ourselves crazy trying to fit into this it has to be, and make it work for us so that we can stay consistent in whatever way that looks like for us. We need to stop putting so much pressure on ourselves and feeding ourselves these stories as to why it's not enough, why we're not enough. If we let go of all that pressure, we can really focus on creating great value-focused content instead of trying to show up at a capacity that really isn't working for you. And this all ties into the whole consistency conversation. Somehow along the way, we have allowed the word consistency to mean every single day, or showing up 5 times a week, or showing up in your stories daily. That's not what consistency means. And this year, I've completely let go of what the word consistency has meant to me up until now. I had to ask, what does consistency look like for Jamie? What does consistency look like for Life by Jamie? What is our consistency? What's working for us? Because at the end of the day, I'm running the show. I get to choose how and when I show up to add value to the world. And so do you. So sit down and redefine what consistency looks like for you. And let it be one of the most freeing things you do for yourself as a creator. What is the realistic amount of time that you want to post a week, and is it currently working? More importantly, that second part of the question, more importantly. This is the biggest indicator to if this number needs to change. Is it currently working? Are you currently meeting that number? And is it enjoyable? If the answer is no, then you need to change it. You need to lower it. And you need to make that be okay. Going back to the YouTube example, if you are struggling to post once a week, if your mental health is declining because of it, if it's adding so much stress, if you're not enjoying the journey, lower the number and make it be okay. What if you gave yourself permission to post every other week? What if your channel still grew while you did that? What if you created better content when you did that? I will tell you right now, I've had the subs rolling in. I did not post last week. I have been inconsistent with my posting because I've been focusing on my travel channel. That's my main channel. And even on that channel, creeping up to monetization on that channel. And we take 2-week breaks in between each series. So we'll post a video once a week for 3 to 4 weeks straight. Then we take 2 weeks off because we're working on the next series. And that works for us. And our audience has gotten used to it. And it's just what we do now, and it stops us from getting burnt out. And yeah, could our channel have grown quicker if we posted every single week? Maybe yes, but maybe no. But it's still growing every single day, and we're enjoying the process. And we're able to really focus on the content that we are creating because we are giving ourselves the time and space to do so. And at first, it felt really weird for me to take breaks because for the first year, we did not take any breaks. We showed up, but that forced us to make videos that were kind of just like a filler, like, oh, we don't really have much to post this week, but we need to post something. So we would just make a video that we weren't really proud of, and we would post for the sake of posting. And to be honest, I just don't think that it can work for some people, but I wasn't proud of the videos because There was no real intention. It was just for the sake of posting. It was for the sake of chasing the algorithm. It was for the sake of all the reasons that just really aren't that important at the end of the day. And I'd rather create quality content than focusing on the quantity, because the quality is what's going to keep people coming back and keep them here enjoying the content. So I had to really reframe my mindset, because it was really hard for me to accept the fact of like not posting 1 week or 2 weeks. And because I was in that mindset, like you have to stay consistent, you have to, my definition of consistency meant I had to post every single week or else I'm not going to grow. But the thing is, I grow on the weeks that we're not posting. We're still growing because we're creating value-focused content. And allowing ourselves to take that time in between just makes so much room for rest and self-care and to get the creative juices flowing again. Because if you're go to the point of burnout, you're not creative. You're not feeling excited to pick up the camera. And so I just feel like that time is so important for the creative process as well. Some more questions you can dig into are, do I think I should shift the amount of times I post a week? And what will I change that number to? And then I want you to reflect and ask yourself, how do I feel about this right now? The thought of changing the amount of times you post a week. Do you feel worried, unsure? Like, I really want you to reflect how you're feeling about it right now. And I want you to ask yourself, how do I want to feel about this in 3 months from now? Do you want to feel relieved, calm? Next is creating boundaries. And this is just important for life. Well beyond content creation, creating strong boundaries is important for life. I feel like this will make or break your schedule. And it goes back to what I was talking about before, like it's all good and dandy to create the schedule, but you gotta stick to it. And that comes with having strong boundaries. If you are not clear on your boundaries and you're not saying, okay, this next hour is dedicated to this and nothing is more important than me getting this done in this hour, you're not gonna stick to anything. Let's say the next hour is supposed to be scheduled to going for a walk, listening to your podcast, but you're like, ooh, but maybe I'll just film a couple of more things. Like, that is not sticking to the boundary of prioritizing your self-care. This is where you're tripping up if you find yourself doing this and not sticking to the things that you are planning for yourself. The self-care time needs to be the self-care time. The content time needs to be the content time. The family time needs to be the family time. And you need to be the one to enforce those boundaries. And of course, things happen, life happens. But if you are being strong and strict with your boundaries majority of the time, it will make such a huge difference, even if life gets in the way here and there. If you, most of the time you are saying family time, content time, this time is self-care time, like it's going to make a difference. In the bigger picture, it's going to make a difference. Those little slip-ups here and there aren't going to really make or break things. Questions for boundaries. What boundaries do I need to create or get better at enforcing? How can I get better at enforcing these boundaries? So I don't want to just give you questions that are going to make you think, oh, I need to get better at prioritizing my sleep, and not make you sit down and think about how you're going to do that. Because our brains will go to work to tell us we don't know how we're going to do it. So I'm forcing us to sit down and figure out the game plan. How are we going to do this? Using the example of prioritizing sleep. For me, I want to be in bed by 9:30. That means I need to start winding down at 8:30, charging my phone away from the bed. Or what I've done personally, I've got an external LED alarm clock that I set on the other side of my room, and I do not use my phone as an alarm clock anymore. I use a physical alarm clock to wake me up in the morning so that I'm not going on my phone first thing in the morning. I'm going to shut off my alarm clock that's on the other side of my bedroom. That's really annoying. You know yourself best, so you know where you're tripping up when it comes to your boundaries. This ain't for me to call you out on. I'm just trying to make you aware that we all have things that we can do better on. You know what that specifically is, and you know, even if you can't think of it on the top of your head right now, if you sit down and really get your brain racking, you will find the solutions with enough brain power to help overcome those things. I honestly feel like I could dig so much deeper into all of this, and I feel like I was kind of all over the place, but I'm just very passionate about this and like hopefully the message still got across. If there are certain parts that you want me to dig a little deeper in, please let me know in the comments. I've also been feeling called to create like a creator's hour, like instead of like a happy hour, like a creator's hour, like a space maybe on Zoom. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to, but you can just jump on the call for accountability and just like be there, and it will be a time for you to work on whatever it is you want to work on with your content, you know, whether it is like brainstorming ideas, or maybe you'll be filming a couple of reels, or maybe you'll be writing captions, or whatever it is in your creation process. You'll be working on something in your creation process, but we'll all be on Zoom for that happy hour, the creator hour. Oh, I don't know, that sounds really fun to me, but I'm always like, oh, but like everyone's in different time zones and this and that, so I don't know like what would be the best time to do something like that, but I just think it would be really fun to do. What do you think? Let me know. Is it a weird concept? Also, if you want to download a free PDF with all the questions that I talked about in this video, the link is in the description for you. If you found this helpful, let me know by hitting the like button or leaving me a comment below letting me know what your biggest struggle is as a creator. With that, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and I hope to see you tuning into another video soon. Bye!